Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest Disney controversies of the year. If you've been anywhere near social media lately, you've probably noticed the intense drama surrounding Disney's live-action Snow White. In particular, the spotlight has been on Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler, with rumors swirling that Gal is blaming Rachel for the movie's massive box office flop. We're talking drama, accusations, social media outrage, and more. Strap in because this story has layers, and it's about much more than just a fairy tale remake. First things first, here's a little background. Disney has been on a live-action remake spree for years now. The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and more. When the studio announced Snow White, many fans were cautiously excited. After all, we're talking about one of Disney's most iconic princesses, the OG from 1937. But the project had controversy from day one, fueled by casting choices and changes to the classic storyline. Rachel Zegler, who gained attention from West Side Story, was cast as Snow White. Gal Gadot joined as the Evil Queen, which got a lot of buzz too. But it didn't take long for everything to get overshadowed by social media firestorms, personal comments, and even rumors of on-set tensions. Now, critics, fans, and even the film's own producer's family are pointing fingers. So how did we get here? Let's break it down. Rachel Zegler's casting as Snow White sparked immediate debates online. Some Disney fans were upset about a Latina actress playing a traditionally white character. Others supported the casting as a fresh reinterpretation for modern audiences. But as the release date loomed, a different layer of controversy surfaced, this time involving Rachel's personal views and social media presence. One critical turning point was when Rachel began sharing opinions on political and social issues. Notably, she tweeted "Free Palestine" in August 2024, which coincided with the film's promotional period. This was especially sensitive because Gal Gadot is Israeli. According to multiple reports, Disney got pretty concerned about the potential backlash, especially if fans or detractors connected Rachel's views with Gal's background. But the friction wasn't just about politics. The two leads rarely appeared together in promotional materials, fueling rumors that the studio wanted to keep them apart. Then came Gal Gadot's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, a huge milestone, but Rachel was noticeably absent. Observers interpreted it as a sign of real tension, or at least distance between the co-stars. Some insiders claim the two got along just fine while filming, but once Rachel's social media posts started causing PR nightmares, Disney reportedly scrambled to limit the potential fallout. They put them on separate press tours, they minimized joint appearances, and none of it was subtle to fans. Of course, sometimes these things are just scheduling, but in this case, people took it as confirmation that the two weren't on the best of terms, or that the studio really didn't want any more sparks to fly. Ultimately, the movie underperformed at the box office, bringing in around $87 million against a reported $270 million budget. That's a huge loss for Disney. And as soon as the numbers came in, the blame game took off. The internet erupted with comments like, "Go woke, go broke," aimed squarely at Rachel Zegler. Critics slammed her for allegedly disrespecting the 1937 classic by calling the prince a stalker and saying the original story was extremely dated. Then, Jonah Platt, the son of one of the producers, Mark Platt, jumped into the fray, criticizing Rachel's public statements. He suggested that her outspoken political and social commentary created unnecessary controversy that ultimately damaged the film's performance. Jonah even said Mark Platt flew across the country specifically to confront Rachel and rein in her remarks. Whether you think Jonah has a point or not, his words added a new layer of drama. The producer's family calling out the star of their own movie. That's next level. Before the film opened, Rachel gave interviews describing her version of Snow White as more modern, emphasizing that the 1937 film is very evidently old-fashioned and that Prince Charming is basically following Snow White around in a creepy way. Some fans felt that was fair criticism of older storytelling norms. Others saw it as disrespecting a timeless Disney classic. The rift in the fanbase grew even wider. This might sound like a small remark, but for hardcore Disney enthusiasts, it came off as a slight against the legacy of the original film, Disney's first full-length animated feature. It's like stepping on sacred ground, and in a time where nostalgic reboots thrive on that built-in audience nostalgia, you really don't want to alienate the fans who treasure those classic elements. Allegedly, Disney tried their hardest to get out in front of this. They reportedly hired a social media expert to help Rachel manage her online presence, hoping to steer the conversation back to the movie rather than her personal politics. They also boosted security for both Gal and Rachel after threats started circulating online, presumably to ensure safety at premieres and press events. But it seems like their efforts came too late. The negative buzz had built a life of its own. Before opening weekend even hit, social media was flooded with jokes about empty theaters and calls for boycotts. The controversies were overshadowing the film's marketing. Disney, possibly trying to protect its reputation, stayed pretty silent about it all and didn't come rushing to Rachel's defense. So the star of Snow White was essentially left to handle the firestorm on her own. For a while, Gal Gadot was conspicuously quiet on the drama swirling around her co-star. Then she gave some interviews discussing the hate and negativity online, mentioning how people online can be incredibly hostile, and that some comments might not even come from real people but from bots. She didn't name Rachel, but many fans interpreted these statements as veiled references to the tension. And the big rumor going around is that Gal privately pointed the finger at Rachel for contributing to the film's disastrous performance. We don't have official statements from Gal that outright say, yes, it's Rachel's fault. But the rumor mill is in high gear. It's all part of the narrative that the controversies Rachel stirred up, intentionally or not, tanked the movie. True or not, that's the story being floated around fan circles and certain media outlets. Snow White was supposed to be a key piece in Disney's lineup, especially considering the success of many of their other live-action remakes. It had a big budget, around $270 million. That's no small chunk of change. When a film that expensive fails to recoup its costs, it doesn't just hurt the bottom line. It hurts Disney's confidence in the entire strategy of remaking beloved classics. This fiasco may also signal broader shifts in Hollywood. Audiences are clearly more critical than ever. The conversation around representation, adaptation, and respectful modernization is complicated. You can't just rely on brand name alone. For fans, the drama is entertaining, but for the folks behind the scenes, it's a lesson in how quickly a film can become a PR minefield. Online, people are divided. Some say Rachel Zegler is being scapegoated for larger issues, like lackluster storytelling, reboot fatigue, and Disney's mismanagement of controversies. Others insist that Rachel's repeated comments on the original film and her political stances are what drove fans away. There's even speculation that Disney's attempts at modernizing the story, changing certain plot points, focusing less on romance, alienated the core audience. So who's to blame? There's no easy answer. Disney might share some responsibility for how they handled the rollout. The producer's son points to Rachel's outspoken nature. Others question whether audiences even wanted a Snow White remake. All these factors likely contributed to a perfect storm of negativity, overshadowing what could have been a straightforward reimagining of a Disney classic. The big question, what's next for Rachel and Gal? Gal Gadot, fresh off her Hollywood Walk of Fame star, still has other projects lined up. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler's career hinges on how she bounces back from this fiasco. Will the industry see her as a risky hire because of her outspoken nature? Or will she continue landing major roles because of her undeniable talent? And what about Disney? Is this going to make them rethink their live-action strategy? Are they going to clamp down even harder on talent speaking their minds? Only time will tell. But right now, the spotlight is on both the drama behind the scenes and the financial failure at the box office, neither of which is a good look for the House of Mouse. At the end of the day, the Snow White remake is more than just another movie. It's a case study in how quickly a project can implode when you add creative risks, fan backlash, and personal controversies into the same cauldron. Rachel Zegler might be taking the brunt of the blame, fairly or unfairly, but the truth is, this flop is a collective failure on multiple levels. What do you think? Is Rachel Zegler being scapegoated? Or did her comments genuinely fuel the movie's downfall? Did Gal Gadot have every right to distance herself from the drama? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.